So markets are kind of wild this morning. Bitcoin dropped massively all the way down to like 104s. If you take a look at spot Bitcoin here, it's down a pretty big amount. But it's starting to rebound back up. If you look at the NASDAQ, Nvidia, Bitcoin. So the president said he's going to be meeting with China's president in 2 weeks, right? So that news just came out. He also expects an expansion of the Abraham Accords soon, hopes Saudi Arabia and others join the Accords via FBN. And again, crypto is down big today, but if we take a look at spot here, let's put it up. It's also kind of getting a pretty big rebound right now. So if we look at Bitcoin US dollar here on Trading View, I mean, it's still down pretty significantly, but it is starting to wake back up here. Look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's starting to wake back up. Let's see what happens. And again, a lot of stuff is going on. You know, people are blaming this drop on like macro geopolitical risks, broader macro uncertainty, liquidity stress, which is weighing on crypto. US-China tensions, especially given tech restrictions and export restrictions on tech in China, is making people less optimistic about crypto. Forced liquidations and derivatives futures leverage positions. And yeah, people are nervous, but Bitcoin bouncing back a little bit right now. Look at it. And this comes on the heels of yesterday. Yesterday we had a pretty, decently red day as well. And this was the reason we had a big red day is because there's credit risk in regional banks. People are saying Zion Bank revealed a $50 million loss on 2 loans. Western Alliance Bank initiated a lawsuit over alleged borrower fraud. It kind of reignited fears reminiscent of the past regional bank, crashes we've seen. And it's spilling over globally into stocks. Now, the last time we had like a regional bank crash, Bitcoin actually went up pretty significantly from it, right? So the last time we had like a big regional crash, Bitcoin went up pretty significantly. And so, sorry for the echo, but yeah, we will see what happens right now. Really interesting market today, though. A lot of stuff going on. Yeah, bad loans going belly up. Banks saying they've got this, but that's what they said right before 2008. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yesterday we dropped pretty big. I mean, look, here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's starting to bounce back here, though. I'm pretty sure it's bouncing back on news that president's meeting with the Chinese president in 2 weeks. Regional banking woes continue despite solid regional reports this morning. We did have a bunch of banks report earnings this morning. Most of them were pretty solid. We didn't have anything to really sink them more. We had Fifth Street. Here, let's take a look at some of these banks. We had Fifth Street, which was FITB. And it's not really moving. It posted 91 cents, 87 cents expected. Expects quarter 4 to be stable, to 1% versus quarter 3. We also had Truist, TFC. None of these are falling big in pre-market this morning, so most of them were fine. Truist posted 91 cents versus $1 expected, 524 revenue versus, they didn't really say. America posted as well, CMA. None of these are really crashing down, which is a good thing. Gold all the way up to 43.40 still up. We had China's mission statement to WTO says that the U.S. introduction of so-called reciprocal tariffs and global trade war have notably infringed upon the legitimate rights of various nations, end quote. This came out about an hour ago, so it's not really new here. Regions Financial posted earnings this morning, which is RF. I'm trying to look at some of these regional banks. Most of these are down big yesterday, but they're not really down today. HSBC forecast that gold could hit 5,000 an ounce next year, raises average gold forecast to 4,600 an ounce. Wall Street Journal says Oracle isn't answering the hardest question about its AI plans. But yeah, regional banks holding a little bit this morning, but down a lot yesterday. Fifth Third. Yeah, 91 cents. We got Ally Financial in about 5 minutes. We'll see what that one looks like. State Street in about 15 minutes. Yeah, but again, crypto's starting to rebound here. Look at Bitcoin right here. So it's starting to bounce back some. It's not really crashing down that significantly. NASDAQ is actually up pretty big over the last... I think bank earnings came in noticeably well, and what people are doing is they're interpreting that as optimistic. And so, you know, we had this big drop, you know, into last night down here, and then we dropped even earlier this morning. My guess is we're dropping here because people are worried about bank earnings that were going to come out. And then when bank earnings come out reasonably well, now we're starting to see kind of this big V-shaped recovery, kind of U-shaped, V-shaped recovery back up here. And now the NASDAQ is sitting right there at 24,007. It's still under 25K, but we're moving this morning. It's an interesting day for sure. Regional bank worries is what's driving a lot of markets down. You look at the bottom, crypto crashing, record 19 billion liquidations tied to 100% tariffs on China. Yeah, so Zion Bank is what sparked most of this regional bank disaster. Disclosed 2 commercial industrial loans under its subsidiary Cali Bank and Trust had, quote, apparent misrepresentations and contractual defaults, plus other irregularities in the collateral. The bank said it would take a 50 million charge-off of 60 million outstanding. Western Alliance also revealed it is suing a borrower, Cantor Group VLLC, alleging fraud, specifically failure to provide first position collateral and forging title policies on property. It claims there are guarantees from ultra high net worth individuals. These exposures are worrying given the collapse bankruptcies of First Brands Group, which is an auto parts supplier, and Tricolor Holdings. Both filed for bankruptcy, revealing weakness in credit and private commercial lending. If you look at one of the regional banking indexes, you know, you can kind of see this is one of the indexes for these regional banks here. I'll put a 5-minute chart up, but if you look at KRE, kind of see this is regional bank ETF. You can see how much it dropped really Wednesday and yesterday. It's up a little bit today. It's slightly green after regional banks posted a little bit better earnings than I think people thought this morning. But if you take a look at yields right now, yields are now solidly under 4%. Let me make sure. Yeah, solidly under 4% right now. They have dropped significantly here. They're spiking back up a little bit right now, but yields have dropped significantly. If we take a look at the Fed Watch tool to see what rates are looking like this morning here. At this point in time, there's even odds of a 50 basis point cut this month, which is just not going to freaking happen. But, you know, 97% chance of a 25 basis point cut at this point in time. This is a 50 basis point cut. We got about 3% chance of a 50. So those odds have changed somewhat here. We'll see what happens, but yeah. Yields down. Regional bank worries. Crypto fell all the way back down, but honestly, Bitcoin has bounced up about $3,000, $2,000. In how long? 5, 10, 15, 5, 30. About an hour. The Bitcoin has bounced back about $2,000 in an hour. Maybe a little bit more than that. So the U.S. Labor Secretary also posted that they're not expecting layoffs at the Labor Department. Yeah, gold getting so close, man. Again, we just got over 4,000. Gold is already at 4340. It's almost 4,400, which is a crazy increase. Gold has been going wild. Oil. Yeah, it's a wild market right now. President says we'll be fine with China, is what he says. He said he's going to meet with Chinese president in 2 weeks. Labor Secretary Chavez Derimer says they're not expecting layoffs at the Labor Department. When the president was asked if high China tariffs will stand, he said no. But then he said it could stand. Again, this might be driving the rebound in markets here. Also could be regional banks coming in a little bit better than expected. Bitcoin back up to 106.5s. So, Bitcoin moving here. If we take a look at actual spot Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like up $2,500 in about an hour. So we're getting a rebound this morning so far, at least. Bro, I don't know why TradingView always gets the time wrong. Like, I will adjust the time to my right time. Yeah, but since like 6:15 market time, crypto's been rallying. Ally Financial just posted numbers. Ally posted 115 EPS versus 101 expected, revenue of 2.17 billion versus 2.12 billion expected. Here's Ally's numbers right here. Ally's not really a regional bank, it's kind of a big bank, but still. Here's Ally. It's up a little bit from this. Again, the president said, I think we'll be fine with China. When asked if China tariffs will stand, he said no. Such high tariffs on Chinese goods are not sustainable. That's good. Let's see if that sentiment continues. Government is on day 17 of the shutdown right now, and it's not looking like any end is in sight, unfortunately. Yeah, let's see what the economy does here, guys. We got 500 here already. It's not even 7:30 in the morning yet. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. But yeah. Is this a buy the dip scenario? I'm going to ask people, are you buying the Bitcoin dip? Are you buying the Bitcoin dip? Yes or no? Let me know in chat right now. We've had some good things said, but man, a lot of fears. Look at this drop in Bitcoin right now. Big drop. But again, we filled about, what, 40% of this gap right here. We're basically right there now. We filled about 40% of the drop. We put a 5-minute chart up. You know, if you look at the last week or so, a little bit less than a week, the last 5 days, Bitcoin has dropped. Really, it's even bigger than this. If we put up like a 15-minute chart, you really kind of start to see it here. Bitcoin has done this over the last 10 days or so. Very large drop from the 120s all the way down to 106s right now for Bitcoin. That's what scared a lot of people. Again, the president came out with a little bit more optimistic quotes this morning regarding U.S.-China relations. And NASDAQ is back up some. But man. So we're pretty split on this vote. 48% say yes, 51% say no. Now it's 50-50. 49, 51, 50. No. Yes. No. Pretty divisive question here. Are you buying the Bitcoin dip? Let me know, man. I don't know either. I mean, I'm in it right now. I'll probably add a little bit down here at least just for averaging purposes. But see for sure. Gold, man, is also interesting. Look at gold's move over the last week here. Market makers playing with people's heads. Wait till the circle of chip companies that are paying each other start to fall. Already have too much Bitcoin, somebody says. Old Faithful still holding. Gold still running. Yeah. Every day I look at gold and it's higher. Now, I'm not saying it's going to continue that trend, but every day I've looked at gold and it's been higher. Yeah, if we take a look at odds of the government shutdown ending here, yesterday we were at about 37 or 38, I think. Where's the shutdown? Oh yeah, here's the government shutdown. Now odds are pricing in. Why did odds decrease so much of the government shutdown? So now odds are, oh no, never mind, it's back up. Sorry, I don't know, it must have glitched. Odds now are about 40 days of government shutdown. 40 days, today is day 17. They are pricing in another 23 days of government shutdown here. That would make it end November 10th, right? We'll see. 40-day government shutdown priced in. 64% have it lasting longer than 35 days, which would be the longest shutdown on record. 47% think it's going to last over 40. 37% think it's going to last over 45 days. Man, we're going to be in an economic data drought. I'm not looking forward to that. This is where Michael Saylor should be buying Bitcoin, not at the top. Well over 45 days of shutdown. Somebody has a, what, 1,000-to-1 bet the government's going to stay shut down until December? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, well, Bitcoin's following tech, and if you look at the bottom, one of the reasons the market's dropping is because 100% tariff on Chinese tech, sparking a sell-off across Bitcoin, altcoins. Everything is down. State Street. China also said they're going to enhance financing support for logistics firms via CCTV. I almost want to trade this, but look at the NASDAQ. I can't really trade this. State Street just dropped their earnings. They posted 278 versus 264 expected revenue of 3.545 billion. So here's the most regional bank earnings. Honestly, only one company missed EPS this morning, and it wasn't, let me see, what was this? It was AB Volvo. So it wasn't even a bank company. We had one missed revenue. SLB missed revenue. But, Tesco is going to take on more than 28.5 thousand temps for the festive season. Isn't State Street out? Why gold also going down in times like this? Gold's up pretty significantly over the last week or so. It's not going to go straight up. Nothing does. I mean, it's been going as close to straight up, I think, as you can expect it to. Like a planned one before. Yeah. It's a wild day for markets, honestly. Look at the Bitcoin bounce back up here, though. Bitcoin's up a little bit. Does it hold this morning? Does Bitcoin continue its rebound back up, or do you guys think it turns back down? All right, so yeah, Amex posted 414 versus 396. Ally posted 115 versus 99 cents. SLB posted 69 versus 66. FITB versus 93 versus 87. EPS. We had ALV also post. HBAN, Huntington Bank. TFC, Truist. Regions, Comerica, Volvo, I think that was what that is. State Street recently posted. NASDAQ back up over 25.7s. I'm kind of watching 25.7s here. I want to see if it continues its road to see if it continues its road back up here, but if it holds over 7 now. Gold's still kind of pulling back. Bitcoin's not really moving at this point in time. I mean, we had some, but it made this big rebound of 2.5K or so, and now it's just kind of sitting tight here. And again, a lot of this is sparked by regional bank worries yesterday. Not in Bitcoin necessarily, but regional banks took a dive yesterday. It freaked markets out. We actually had a pretty red day if you look at things yesterday. Here's the NASDAQ. We're almost green on the day in the NASDAQ, but if you take a look at like a 30-minute chart here, you can kind of see the regional bank fears and, you know, the tariff fears and all this stuff caused us to have a pretty big red day. Thursday started here. We kind of dropped all the way down on the NASDAQ under 25,000. We're at 24.7s now. Again, just relationship with China and all that stuff. Tariffs on tech causing fears in crypto. You know, one of the reasons crypto dropped is because of that. And now it looks like Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit. It's at right around 106. NASDAQ's trying to hold. Gold is still elevated today, but it's actually technically red on the day, I think, for gold. Let me see where it's actually at, but I think gold is technically red. Let me make sure. Again, yields are under 4%. At least that's what they were last time. Yeah, gold's slightly red on the day, very slightly red. Brutal day today? I don't know. You think it starts? What's slow? People have bought the overnight dip to profit. We asked people, are they buying the Bitcoin dip? 53% say no. 47% say yes. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Honestly, oh. Still stuck in this freaking race. I hate it. I don't like it at all. Honestly, if they just remove the 60% restriction, like, I haven't bent my leg this way In 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks since I've bent my leg 90 degrees or more. You don't realize how much you miss bending your legs until you can't, you know? Yeah, so the leverage, people are talking about leverage in crypto. They're saying this morning's crash caused 19 billion in liquidations. But we're back up a little bit, so could have been a stop out run, and now people are back. Again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I'm in Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to go up. But if you are taking hyper leveraged Bitcoin positions, you know, I'm not gonna say you deserve this, but like, when you play stupid games, dumb stuff happens, you know? And so you got to look at the history of Bitcoin, see how much it swings up and down and up and down and up and down, and not gamble like a freaking dummy on super leveraged positions. Now, some of these were sketchy anyway. You know, some of the exchanges had it drop very quickly down to certain spots. And so I'm not mad at you if you lost money, you know, but just don't gamble too heavily. Like, the name of the game in Bitcoin, in my personal subjective opinion, and again, I'm not an investment professional. Understand all this stuff on screen, I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. But the name of Bitcoin, the name of the game in Bitcoin is accumulation. Dollar cost averaging, you know. I get it, everybody wants to be rich crypto bro, and I get it, but don't be dumb. I like Bitcoin, I want it to go up a minute, but I don't know. This AI gave me that answer about 19 billion, so you know how it was Chat GPT as well, so we'll see. You know how wrong Chat GPT might be. Let me ask it again. You sure it was 19 billion? Today is Friday, the 17th, remember. Okay. Apparently, AI just pulled a random number from last week. On Friday of last week, it was 19 billion. Today, it was nowhere near 19 billion, apparently. Good job, AI. Anyways, White House economic advisor Hassett said U.S. is not in a trade war with China. He's confident the U.S. and China can get back to a place that is good for both nations, and have been disappointed in some of Chinese actions via FBN. And so again, Hassett said U.S. is not in a trade war with China, confident they will get back to a place that is good for both of them, and that he's been disappointed in them so far. He's one of the economic advisors for the White House. He said China has a little bit of leverage right now, but it would hurt them more. He said White House economic advisor Hassett on China trade rare earths. Okay, says don't think they're really going to do it regarding rare earths. On U.S. economy and credit, he said right now banks have ample reserves, and we're not in a trade war with China. On the Fed, he says 3 rate cuts are a start. I'm assuming he's talking about this year. So he said 3 rate cuts are a start. And again, I told you guys before, I think we're going to do 25, 25, 25. We'll see if that's right. I think 25, 25, 25 makes sense. Tell it to think extra hard. Yeah. I'll probably just switch to Gemini, to be honest. Yeah, Nvidia is another big swing on the day here. Maybe I should buy a little dip here. I don't know what. Make sure what trade portfolio I'm in. Oh, I was gonna buy this right here. Look at that bounce. Right at my level, 24/7. I just missed it. Wait. Maybe it's too late. Gold's still red on the day. See if Hassett keeps speaking, which I think he probably will. Yeah, on economic growth, Hassett says no reason 4% can't continue. I mean, we're at 3.8 or whatever. But all right, NASDAQ coming back down. Good thing I didn't buy the dip. I was thinking about it, but I want to see if the NASDAQ comes back down to the 200 exponential. Really kind of whippy day, though. Still watching for Hassett quotes here. Again, Bitcoin had a 4-month low, but I think it's back up here. So it dropped down to 103,659 according to LSEG, but it's back up to 106 now. All right, NASDAQ back up here. See what Hassett says. Maybe he'll keep influencing things. Or rip back up here. See if it holds. We're getting close to the highs of the day again. Which at about, what is this? 24,736. Tesla was at 416. Founder of Bit4X, Garrett, was the one who made all that money shorting crypto yesterday. People were saying it was Barron. I don't know who it was. Bitcoin has room to go to 90. Started another short on Sunday. Whoever's shorting it is probably making a lot of money right now, based off of how much it's dropped. Now, depending on what their position looks like, but whoever's shorting has probably made a pretty big amount of money so far. Hey, what's up, Mitch? How you doing, brother? Ugh, doing good, bro. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this brace, dude. I can't move my freaking leg, dude. I'm mad about it. You know? Crypto starting to bounce back. NASDAQ almost wants to go green, it looks like, today. What's up, Cap? We're here, but man, what a day in markets. Regional bank fears driving markets down. Regional banks are going bankrupt again, potentially, and that's what is sparking worries this morning. Although we did have regional bank earnings this morning, and they weren't as bad as everybody thought they were. You know, we did have some better news for regional banks this morning. Not as big of losses or bad earnings that we saw yesterday, which drove a lot of this down. And Bitcoin's wild today, making big moves up. Are you buying the dip? Are you DCAing into Bitcoin right now? I'm not telling you to do it. I don't know what it's going to do, but it's down a lot. Mitch and I were supposed to have a jiu-jitsu match. And unfortunately, that's going to be on hold now, you know? I do remember that video you posted on commercial real estate, dude. I remember that video. It was what, like 9 months ago? Good video. You might have been right, too. Let's see what happens. Again, everybody remembers, what was it? What was the bank? Was it 2023? 2024? Was it first? What was the bank? I can't remember the name of it. It's been so long. We already had, the thing about it though is that the last time we had this big regional bank worries, and it was also a California bank. I can't remember what bank it was. But Bitcoin ran big during those moments, right? Like Bitcoin went up a lot in those periods of time. You know? Yeah, SVB is what it was. Silicon Valley Bank, that's what it was. And yeah, Bitcoin ended up, like people ended up buying Bitcoin during that period of time because they had less trust of banking, right? So where did they go? They flocked to cryptocurrencies. Yeah, for sure, Mitch, 100%, bro. Will cash be king if we start to see big bank failures like that? You know, like will real estate get cheap regarding cash purchases? Yeah, SFB was crazy. I remember covering that. It was wild. This one's crazy too, man. But it's not. Again, look at this drop in the Nasdaq. Bitcoin has bounced up about $2,000 from its lows today, 2 or 3,000. I think it's like 2.5K. Nasdaq's still red. Very red day for almost everything yesterday. And again, we're in a data drought. I don't have anything to cover. I usually cover economic data. That's like usually my thing is economic data. And today is day 17 of the government shutdown. Day 17 of the government shutdown. I'm not happy about it. Not happy. They need to resume the government, figure it out. Start covering the economic data again. For selfish reasons, I want this data back. You know? I mean, we still got stuff to cover. We got CPI next week. You know, we got earnings. So at least it's earnings season. But still. They need to figure it out. I'm not picking sides. They just need to figure it out. Market will move higher today. Bull or bear right now in chat? Let me ask the question. Bull or bear? Let me know. Well, typically during government shutdown, Roberts, the market does a very specific thing. It's kind of buy the rumor, sell the news. And again, remember, one of my favorite trading quotes is, the market doesn't repeat it, or history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So it's not necessarily we're going to get exactly the same thing, but historically during shutdowns, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. A lot of the time we drop leading into the shutdown, and then during the shutdown, we rebound. And that's kind of what we've seen during this shutdown as well. Gold is one of the biggest wins during all this stuff. Gold up to $4,300 an ounce, almost $4,400 an ounce early or late, mid to late yesterday or early yesterday. So gold flying up. Bear. We got some bears in the chat. We got bulls today buying the dip. Again, 53% say they're not buying the Bitcoin dip. Nvidia, again, let's talk about it. Nvidia was at 190s about a week ago. It is now at 170s. Trying to get back over 180s, but Nvidia has done this for the last week. Pretty significant drops for Nvidia. Still up a ton over the last 3 years, but not small drops necessarily for Nvidia. Percentage-wise, it's about a $20 drop. $20 drop in a $200 company is 10%. Not small. That's a very large percentage. Nvidia in a week down 10%. Let's see if it holds down here, if it continues back up. People are worried about extended evaluations in tech. So, will Nvidia hold up here? Yeah, AMD's been wild. AMD hit 244 about a week ago. Up to 230, still doing pretty well. Yeah, it's a big company. I know. I understand. It's the biggest company. No? I don't know what Apple is right now. I think Nvidia's got a bigger cap than Apple right now. Do we have any data today? Well, we were supposed to. Here's the problem. Is that we'll probably get industrial production and capacity utilization. But import price index is probably delayed. BLS suspended most of its data releases. Building permits likely delayed. It's by the U.S. Census Bureau. Same source as housing starts and is affected by suspension of operations. Housing starts likely delayed. Census Bureau, again, federal agency, non-essential operations, including the release of monthly economic indicators, have ceased during the shutdown. So we're probably getting industrial production and capacity utilization. I'm not 100% sure, though, to be honest, because even the ones that are not, like, this is by the industrial production numbers is by the Federal Reserve. And so industrial production numbers and capacity utilization numbers might come out, but they don't really have the input data from the other federal agencies like the Census Bureau to give us some of these numbers. And so I'm curious to see whether they're coming out. I don't think housing starts are coming out at all. You're always going to lose buying the dip. I mean, that's not true at all. That's just certainly not true. What about the people that bought the dip in April? What about the people that bought the dip in 2020? What about the people that bought the dip in 2000? What about the people that bought the dip in 1987? They're all doing pretty well, I'm assuming here, if they bought indexes. Generally speaking, most of these broad markets, indexes, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, tech, gold, crypto, generally they go up over time, right? And so buying the dip or averaging into these positions over time is, in general, and again, this is generalized. I'm not talking about your grandmother's sister's uncle's brother who lost money somehow during those incidents. I'm talking about, in general, most of these things go up over time. So buying the dip is generally the right move. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm the top 3 least financial professional in the world. This is not financial advice. But in general, these things go up over time. Yeah, the Federal Reserve is independent, but if they get their data from government sources, they might not have the data to put out. Okay, maybe I didn't read your whole comment, David. You're always going to lose doing that. The next dip is always bigger than the one you're buying. I mean, that's not necessarily true. You know? It all just depends, but again, institutions sold off in drip, so every dip was deeper than the next one when you buy. Okay, you're talking short term. I'm not attacking you, David. I'm really not. I'm just curious about it. It depends on, I guess maybe the disconnect here is time frame. I'm talking long term. You know, I'm not telling you to buy every dip right now. You know, what I'm saying is long term, if you dollar cost average into healthy assets, you're generally going to make money over it, money in it over long periods of time. And when I say long periods of time, I mean decades. Generally, you're going to make money over time. Yeah. It's a long-term strategy, not short-term. Short-term, anything can freaking happen. We could drop more. That's certainly true. We could go into a bear market. We could go into a recession. We could go into a market crash over the next 3-4 years. All of that stuff's certainly possible. But when you zoom out, it could become safer and safer. I don't really like buying tops either. I'd rather buy dips than tops. Oh, for sure. If you're day trading this, yeah, ignore everything I just said. That none of what I said is relevant to you. Um, bring back the data. Is all I'm saying. Also, give me a follow on X.com if you want to see what all the regional banks did. Give me a follow here, guys. I appreciate it. Give me a follow here. You can check out what all the regional banks did. None of them posted anything that might reignite the worries in regional banks. Morning. See if we got any other breaking news here. I don't think we do. Again, White House economic advisor Bassett says 3 Fed rate cuts would be, quote, a good start. UBS is turning bullish on global equities. UBS upgraded its global equity outlook to attractive, citing stronger growth, easing tariffs, AI-driven investment. The bank raised its 25 earnings forecast to 8% and expects support from Fed cuts and fiscal stimulus. They upgraded U.S., China, EM, and Asia ex-Japan equities, favoring tech and financials. It sees Chinese tech EPS up nearly 40% next year and says AI, power, and resources and longevity will drive gains ahead. What's everybody's go-to coffee order? Plain coffee. You know? Coffee's not bad for you if you don't throw a bunch of sugar in it and treat it like it's a dessert. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what people are thinking. Like, hey, for the first thing every day in the morning, let me drink 70 grams of sugar in a coffee and also speed up my heart rate. You know? Terrible idea. Why would you ever do that? The bitterness is what wakes you up in coffee anyway. I appreciate the follows, guys. Thanks so much. Coffee tastes bad without? Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Deal with it, bro. Come on now. Telling you. I mean, you might not like the bitterness at first, but the bitterness is what wakes you up. You know, if it's early in the morning and you're sleepy and then you take a sip of bitter coffee, you're a little bit more awake. That's the point of it, you know? I'm not attacking you, Pard. I'm sorry. You know, I retract my previous statement. No, it's all good. Novartis says, man, some of these, I hate reading these biotech company catalysts. Can't pronounce half the words in them. Selling stocks? I don't think I sell stocks. Yeah, gold's are crazy right now. Gold's now under 4,300. Look at 750. We just tapped highs of the day. We're now at 730s. We tapped 750s. The range is pretty big this morning, so just be careful. All right, so the president on tariff says we have to have a fair deal. 100% tariff is not sustainable. We're going to do fine with China. We're going to meet in a couple weeks. China is always looking for an edge. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Meeting with President Xi in 2 weeks. Yeah. So that's what's going on right now. Again, 100% tariff is not sustainable. I think we'll be fine with China, he says. Yeah, we're now over 750s, breaking highs of the day again, guys. We're at 770s right now, pushing towards 8s. 24,800 might be a level, but honestly, we're getting some bullish rebounds today in markets. Look at this move. Again, I'm going to restate what the president said. U.S. president says on China trade, we will see what happens. I do not know what is going to happen. We'll be meeting in a couple weeks on 100% tariff. Says it is not sustainable. They forced me to do that. End quote. Just said it. NASDAQ pushing up right now. Let's see what this 24,800s level. 25,000 still the big level I got on these charts. But yeah, still moving up. Surprised we aren't seeing more We Buy Gold shops pop up, that we just get precious metals licenses like we did back when gold got close to 2,000 an ounce. Yeah, for sure. Look at what watches are doing. Watches have rebound mostly. NASDAQ still getting close to 24.8s. AMD rebounding. Bitcoin still back over 106,000 here after dropping a lot earlier this morning. Yeah, if you take a look at like Rolex prices. Rolex prices have come back a little bit this year. Don't go at 400. Yeah, AMD is the prize. AMD back up a little bit. Trying to go green on the day for AMD. Look at it right here. It's at right around the previous closes at 234s. Yeah, Dow turns positive. A crazy recovery for the Dow here. If you take a look at the Dow, again, AMD still heading back up. Dow technically green on the day after dropping big here. So the Dow has completely recovered this drop it made. It dropped all the way down to 45.6. Look at that. All the way down here to 45.6. It is now all the way back up and technically green on the day here. It's now at 46.2 for the Dow. So all the way back up. Crypto has seen a similar rebound, although it's not all the way back up yet. Bitcoin's still got a ways to go, but some rebounds are here. All right, looking at our poll, we asked people, are you buying the Bitcoin dip? 54% say no. 46% say yes. Vote on the poll. Yeah, crypto's lagging a little bit, but there's definitely more optimism around China this morning, I think. That's what I'm seeing. Bitcoin dipping a little bit. Okay, look at the Dow up here. AMD also almost green on the day. Gold still red. Nasdaq couldn't get over 24.8s. Might be a dip at 750s. Look at gold here. So gold, I don't know, man. Gold looks like it wants $5,000 an ounce. The question is just, when does it hit it? The other question is this: when the government shutdown resumes, does gold correct a little bit? What do you guys think? When the government shutdown, when the government stops being shut down, and when the government resumes, does gold contract a little bit from that? Pull back a little bit from that? I think it's possible. All right, here's the Nasdaq giving us a little dip here. No, it'll rise due to data coming out. Which data? You think inflation data? We have inflation data next week. So next, oh, I got a donation earlier this morning, I think. Didn't I get one? Thought I saw one earlier this morning. I'll have to go check. If I did, I'm sorry, I missed it. But I appreciate the donation. Thanks so much. Oil is down significantly today too. Look, there's Bitcoin pulling back now under 106. Oil rebounding a little bit, hit $56 this morning. Jobs and inflation data. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get inflation data next Friday though. So in a week from now, we got inflation data, CPI inflation data coming out Friday, 8:30. I'm pretty sure. And so that might move things because that's the first inflation data we're really getting in over a month. You know, it's been over a month since we've gotten CPI. And so it'll be almost 1.5 months since we got the last CPI report. And yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I hope it comes in low. If it comes in low, it opens the door for more rate cuts, especially with like bank worries, crypto, all this stuff going on. I think with all these fears, we're more likely to cut rates. And as long as inflation data, CPI shows lower numbers, I think we're going to get 25, 25, 25. That's a big if. According to the Chinese minister, China has right to take countermeasures against the U.S. Again, Dow futures are up following the China comments by the president. Again, though, China did say they have the right to take countermeasures against the U.S. just now. So both sides are pointing fingers, essentially, saying it's your fault. Nah, it's your fault. You know, that's essentially what we're getting here in terms of, you know. Whose fault do you think it is, guys? Let me know in chat right now. And again, we're supposed to have housing starts, or no, we're supposed to have industrial production numbers at like 9:15. I don't know how much they're going to move markets. It is your fault, Robert. I believe it is Robert's fault in chat right now. Yeah, YouTube's still doing the thing where it shows y'all's @ handle instead of your name. Okay, so what I'm reading this is that YouTube is now showing @ handles instead of names in chat to combat impersonation by providing each user with a unique identifier. Since channel names can be duplicated and faked, handles prevent scammers from creating fake accounts with similar names to scam people, is essentially what's going on. So if you're wondering why your handle in chat says @ and then your @ name, your @ handle. Okay, so on CNBC, it says the U.S. Treasury Secretary Bassett and the Chinese Vice Premier are set to speak over the phone today. So we have this news coming out. Shutdown is over, market green light to rip, and we know the shutdown will end. Well, yeah, we know it's eventually going to end here. I think when we have to look at this, though, are we green from the shutdown? The shutdown started October 15th, or started October 1st, right? So let's look at a daily chart. Shutdown started. Okay, yeah, we're definitely red from the shutdown so far. We're pretty much flat, though. Here's where the shutdown started. Here. And we are here right now. So we're technically red, but not super red from the shutdown. We're definitely a little red, though. Gold pushing up to 43.23s here. Almost green on the day. Here's the green level for gold. Again, Bitcoin. Put up micro Bitcoin here, futures. Bitcoin all the way down to 106. Holding, though, it had a pretty big rebound. Look at this rebound in Bitcoin started here. So we have rebounded a lot. We're still down a lot for Bitcoin, though. But we're about right here. If you want to check out Top Step, you can just check out my link here. Great way to help support the channel. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ. Oh, bump my mic. S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, gold. Similar to funding your own account. Just a beautiful way to help support the channel. There's the link right there. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, of course. Understand all this stuff on screen, but genuinely useful for traders. Genuinely useful. A great way to learn. Most day traders lose. So if you fund your own account 5, 10, 20, 30 grand, you're probably going to lose a lot of that if it's for first a couple accounts. Makes no sense to do it. Instead, you can risk 50 bucks on Top Step, learn with some risk. So you're still learning how to trade with risk, but it's not 10, 20, 30K, causing you to lose significant portions of your money. You know what I mean? And most day traders are going to lose. And so you can day trade S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, similar to day trading equities. No PDT rule. Check it out. There's the link right there. All right, guys, so the president said 100% tariffs not sustainable. Western Alliance reverses early losses, rises 3.7%, ending up after the initial drop. Again, we have Bassett and the Chinese Vice Premier discussing trade today, according to CNBC. They're going to speak today. China's Wang hopes U.S. negotiates with China on equal basis. Again, housing starts delayed due to government shutdown. Import prices delayed due to government shutdown. But we don't really have any data today at 8:30 either. Hey, congrats, John. Nice job, dude. Yeah, that's a good question. We asked people, are they buying the crypto dip? 53% said no, 47% said yes. When the government shutdown ends, does gold pull back? Is the question. When the government shutdown ends, does gold pull back? Is the question right now. NASDAQ testing highs of the day again, back up to 24,780s. Let's watch 24.8 right here. Gold still dipping down to 4,300. Yeah, I mean, the government shutdown will probably last at least towards the end of this month. I hope it doesn't. I hope it ends today, but it's unlikely to do so. I hope it ends next week, but it's unlikely to do so. Again, UBS Global Wealth Management upgrades global equities to attractive. U.S. equities upgrades from neutral to attractive. Chinese equities upgraded from neutral to attractive. EM equities also upgraded to attractive, according to Newswire. So, gold to 2,000? I don't think so. Bears are scary. A sloth bear is the scariest except for a grizzly. Grizzlies are the scariest for sure. I put it grizzly, sloth bear, and then all the other bears. Polar bear's probably pretty freaking scary as well. I don't know where. Polar bear is somewhere in the top 3. But yeah, everybody was saying October would be some massively green month. Look at the NASDAQ test highs of the day. Again, it's testing 24.8s. Right now, 24,801. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, polar bears probably number 1. I think polar bears are the most athletic bears, and they're the least like they're just predators. You know, all bears are predators, but polar bears, everything living, they're the apex. Yeah. October was a trap. I mean, historically, November is the most bullish month. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the holiday months are the most bullish. Guy with name knows. Yeah. Most people don't understand the Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. It's an Office show, the reference. It's an Office reference from the show. Anyways, NASDAQ rejecting at 24.8s. Gold still pulling back at 4,300s. Let's look at crypto. Oil's back up a little bit today, but it's still red. Gold. Bitcoin's just consolidating after getting to 106. Y'all can't see, but I got a bear picture over there. All right. Looking at our poll, 65% says yes, gold pulls back after the government resumes. You get NASDAQ mostly flat. Russell down 0.3%. Solid regional bank earnings did help kind of push down some of the fears of regional banking. President offered some constructive China remarks on everything. He says, you know, 100% tariffs probably not going to hold, that they're going to meet in 2 weeks. Some optimistic signs, and markets have kind of rebounded back on that. We're still down in most things, like Bitcoin's down. Gold is down. NASDAQ is mostly flat, but down slightly. And but the Dow did come all the way back up and go green. So the Dow is technically green right now in the day. Yeah, the market dropped pretty significantly yesterday on regional bank fears. The market did dip yesterday on regional bank fears. Again, we're supposed to have housing starts, building permits, and then later on this morning, we got industrial production numbers. Housing starts and building permits, I'm pretty sure are delayed, guys. I'm pretty sure housing starts, building permits are delayed. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 95% sure housing starts, building permits are delayed. You know, unfortunately, government shutdown. They're from a government entity, so. AMD technically green on the day. It is kind of testing that level now for AMD. It's at 234s, but I told you guys 24.8. So look at that. Yeah, well, Western Alliance I think is rebounded all the way back up. No, what's the symbol for Western Alliance? It is WAL. The Western Alliance now green on the day. There's 750s. Look at that level here too. Yeah, Bitcoin's the big worry today, man. Bitcoin's dumping down. If you look at spot Bitcoin here, look at this drop in Bitcoin this morning. So Bitcoin's contracted a lot. Yeah, we what calmed a lot of the bank worries is that we did have some regional banks that showed up this morning that weren't the worst, right? They didn't show up super negative in earnings. So we had a lot of regional bank earnings this morning that weren't super negative, and that kind of pushed down some of the fears of all this stuff going on. You know, and again, anybody that remembers Silicon Valley Bank and the failures that erupted around that, and Bitcoin actually ran big on, again, regional bank worries. This was, what, a few years ago? When did a SVB happen? 2023, right? And this was in March, early 2023, so crypto ran during that period of time when all these regional banks everybody was scared of these regional bank failures. Crypto ran pretty significantly from it. First Republic as well. And so we're kind of seeing the opposite of that. Again, if you look at yields are up a little bit since the last time I looked, but they're still under 4% right now. So if you look at yields are, well, at least a little bit under 4% now. They were lower this morning and they bounced back here. They're back up to 3.99. They were at 3.95 earlier. AMD still technically green. Let me just make sure no data is coming out at 8 here this morning. Again, I'm gonna put up, make sure I make sure housing starts building permits don't drop. If they do, I'm gonna cover them, but I don't think they drop this morning, fortunately. We do have industrial production and capacity utilization in about 45 minutes, so that is scheduled to come out because that's by the Federal Reserve, I think. So. Yeah, dude, I feel like I gotta sneeze. Yeah, so I don't really see anything listed for 8:30 this morning, unfortunately. Again, most economic data is muted right now. We don't have payrolls, we don't have any of that stuff. A lot of people were saying payrolls were coming out today. Unfortunately, they're not. There's 8:30. We did not have housing starts or building permits drop. Not that I'm showing up, at least. No market movement either. I love you. Good day. Yeah, I don't see anything listed for 8:30 either. Sorry, I'm checking all the news sources here. I don't see anything. Canadian security, something came out, but that's about it. Dude, I don't know why my nose. Walmart thoughts? Walmart could be like a hedge against fears, but Walmart is up a lot over the last 6 months, up a lot this year. You know, Walmart's at all-time highs, and so I think it might be baked in already, to be honest. I think it could be a hedge against all this stuff, but it also might be baked in already, unfortunately. So I think it's a little late for Walmart personally, but it might keep running. I don't know. Again, UBS lifted the S&P 500 in target to 6,900, raised 25-year in target to 6,900 from 6,600 on the S&P. Again, the president said this morning, 100% tariff on China is not sustainable. He said we have to have a fair deal. And again, Besson and the Chinese vice premier is going to discuss trade today, according to CNBC. Wait, I posted Top Step. Did I not pin it? I must not have. Let me pin it. There you go. Yeah, it's up. Top Step's right there if you want to check it out, guys. U.S. banks collapsing. Kind of. We had regional bank fall. Big banks did well. Regional banks fell yesterday on fears. What sparked this, just to go a little bit more into detail about it, Zion Bank, Z-I-O-N, disclosed that 2 commercial and industrial loans under its Cali Bank and Trust subsidiary had, quote, apparent misrepresentations in contractual defaults plus other irregularities in collateral. The bank said it would take 50 million charge off of 60 million outstanding. And so if you look, this is kind of what sparked some of these fears. If you look at Z-I-O-N here. Hey, bud. Love you, dude. Good day, man. All right. A nice pop. Again, so Zion Bank kind of sparking this. We also had Western Alliance revealing it's suing a borrower, which is the Cantor Group LLC, alleging fraud, failure specifically to provide first position collateral and forging title policies on property. It claims they are guarantees from ultra high net worth individuals, and these, along with First Brands Group bankruptcy and Tricolor bankruptcy, revealed weakness in credit and lending. But again, it's mostly regional banks. If you look at KRE, which I think is what Sam was asking me to look at, you can kind of see where this started here. Dropped all the way down. This is a regional bank ETF. We are back up here, but I would say we're back up, what, 30% relative to where the drop started. And again, this is a regional bank ETF is what this is. So, yeah, we're back up to almost 60, but we dropped from 64 down to 56. So, I'd say we rebounded about 30% of the dip, and we'll see if we keep going back. I'm not sure what we're going to get here. Again, NASDAQ is pretty flat in pre-market. We got less than an hour for the opening bell. But kind of flat this morning. I think we're green, but the pensions are facing, with the government shutdown, a 1.2 trillion funding gap. They're on track for an 8.6% return this year, boosting their funded ratio to 83% from 78 and 24. The funding shortfall is expected to shrink to 1.2 trillion from 1.5, but big gaps remain despite records and contributions. Hey, man. What you doing, bud? All right, dude. Love you, buddy. Gold coming back up a little bit. Gold's almost green on the day. It's at 43.20s here. It hit 4,300 even. This is 4,300 even. You can kind of see how psychological levels play a factor in everything. Right here, 750, 800, You know, 700 right here, and you can kind of see just how markets follow them. Gold went down to 4,300. Even KRE went to 56 even. Amex earnings were good. I don't think they were bad. It's slightly green from its earnings report, you know, but they weren't terrible. Again, if you look at like big banks like JP Morgan, they dropped in sympathy from this, but if you look at a long-term chart, like these things are doing very well on the year. JP Morgan is up, looks like about 20%. It was at 250s, it's now at 300s, which is 20%. Wells Fargo is probably a similar thing. Again, here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's consolidating after rebounding some, but it's still net down. It's at 105s, 106s right now for Bitcoin. Nasdaq's pretty choppy today, although we did have a big rebound. A lot of people were worried about the Dow, but the Dow is now ripping up here. So look at the Dow make a move this morning, up to 46,245 right now for the Dow. It is Friday, guys, so y'all just be careful. What's your favorite thing to buy this morning? What's your favorite thing to sell? Let me know in chat. Gold consolidating in a big range, though. Oil? Yeah, I mean, oil's showing some gains here as well, if you look at it. 57s right now, but it's still down on the day. Don't get it wrong. All right, NASDAQ making another test of 24.8s here. 24.8s. Another test on the NASDAQ. Will it reject at the top of this range or continue up here? Does what normally drop on Friday, Tyler? All right, we did a poll. When the government shut down, does gold pull back? 70% of people say yes for gold. The hard thing to do would be to catch it, right? Like, in order to capitalize on gold, I'm sure it's going to, if it does drop, it's going to drop quickly once the government shutdown ends. No one has a clue realistically. Yeah. Stocks? Do stocks normally drop on Fridays? I would say most of the time they're sideways on Fridays. Right? Friday, you got to think about the psychology dynamic, which is like people are going on vacation, they're leaving early, they're going to do stuff on Fridays. And so there's just less liquidity in markets on Fridays generally, depending on what day it is and what's coming out on payrolls. It's different, of course, and other reports that come out on Friday, it's different. But generally, there's it's less liquid on Fridays. Markets are they just have less participants on Fridays, especially as you go farther and farther in the day. People are taking trading off; they're not doing as well, and so because of that, I would say most of the time we're sideways. Fridays, choppy, neutral. Buy the rumor, sell the news on gold. But yeah, last Friday was different. Last Friday, again, this is generalized, right? You can always isolate a Friday, and I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just last Friday. You're right. Last Friday was definitely different. Big drops. Again, the drops is all these drops and all the extensions of these drops is mostly started on Friday. All right, guys. I want to trade open trade with you. Hey, thank you, man. We'll try to trade the opening bell. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes. I never trade the first 5 minutes any day. Still sideways in a range here. What jobs data, Brad? If we had substitute jobs data, it would have moved markets, I would say. Yeah, it's definitely possible pawn. Yeah, they filed for bankruptcy. Yeah, market's crazy right now, Matt, for sure. Like, it's moving. Markets are moving today. Again, it's not every Friday. Again, 1.2 billion liquidations in crypto today. It fell to 105, under 105, which is what I'm showing. If I look at spot crypto here, it shows Bitcoin fell all the way down to 103s. 103.5. Look at Bitcoin. Back up to almost 106s now for spot, but scary drop here. Scary drop. Honestly, it's been a pretty good week for me. I don't want to give it all back. We're going to see what happens. Palladium decline, fell 5% to 1,532.50 an ounce. Yeah, but we heard some claims news already that said that claim numbers were out yesterday, Brad. So you might not be looking at like new data. A weekend donation for your... Hey, thank you, Lee. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Is this maybe a good gold entry? What do you guys think? Should you buy gold here? I'm not telling you what to do. I don't know. Should you? Gosh, dude, weird. Yeah, I'm looking for more data. But I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see any news. Gold is on a pullback today. Any pullback now is a gold entry. No one knows what's going to happen. Absolutely not. Crash coming. Again, I'm going to do this again in chat because I did it earlier. Bull or bear? Again, bull or bear for today? Nasdaq's so choppy. I almost want to buy the 750 dip, but we've been in this range for so long. I'm not the most optimistic. It might be a little bit of, you know, we'll see. Bear, bull, bull, both. Bear. Bear, bear. 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 Bull. Mostly bears, I would say in chat right now. Bear. Yeah, I think the fear is high right now. Shutdown needs to end. Bull. Bear, bear, bear. Middle. Yeah, so mostly bears this morning. Fears here. Treasury Secretary Bessent says Treasury bought pesos in blue chip swap and spot markets. Yeah, I'm sure bonds are down, or I think TLT is down a little bit today, but up over the last few days, right? Yeah, so down a little bit today, but up over the last few days. Yeah, and so again, this is going to inverse what yields do. So these are bond prices. These are longer term bonds like TLT, but they're bond prices, right? And so if yields are up today, which I looked at them earlier and they were higher, TLT is going to be down slightly, but green over the last few days because yields are down over the last few days, but up slightly today. They're still under 4%, if I remember correctly, for 10-year. Yeah, they're at 3.997% for 10-year yields. If you look at them, 3.997. So that's that, but they're up today. If you look at it on a 5-day chart, you know, you can kind of see we're red total, but up today, and that means TLT is going to be green total, but down today, and that's what's going on. All right, guys. Windows forced an upgrade again. Honestly, dude, I freaking hate Windows. The worst computer company in the world. Like, why would you force people to do updates every 3 days? It's so dumb, man. Like, why would you need to do an update every 3 days, 4 days, 5 days? It's so stupid. Like, people don't have anything else to do but do upgrades for their stupid computer, bro. I'm so close to buying a Mac. I really am. Bitcoin is wild. So close to buying a Mac. Let me make sure this works. I'm honestly about to get a freaking MacBook. Never had a MacBook ever. I'm pretty close to freaking getting one now. Are we back up? Yeah, we're here. You know, just ridiculous. Where's Bitcoin? I thought I had it up. I'll put Bitcoin up until I can get tossed back up. Just freaking absolutely ridiculous. Just completely forces my computer to do an update, dude. Nobody wants it to do a freaking update here. Here's the NASDAQ. Ugh. Unfortunate, man. Just ridiculous. This is the second or third time this has happened in like a month. I'm getting kind of tired of it, honestly. Let me look at the, let me make sure that's what this is. I'm 99% sure that's what this is, because as soon as it restarted, it forced an upgrade. Ugh. Check the freaking event viewer. See what the heck freak happened. Ugh. Okay. Check the system logs. They're now blank. There it is. Windows Update Client is what caused this, dude. Ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, let me get this started. I'll get the music back on. It might be time for me to just buy another computer. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, bro. Like, I just did an upgrade like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and they force another one. It's literally like every 3 days, 4 days. They want you to restart your computer. You can do an upgrade. If you ignore it, they do what they just did, which they completely cut it off and force the upgrade. They can deny it. They're going to pretend like they don't do that. That's what they do. You see, it started to do it again just now. Super strange. And then the problem is, once they do the update, it's not stable. You know, so they're basically like experimenting here. Like, I got like 32 plus gigs of RAM. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a... Like, we should have plenty of power not to have this happen. You know? Alright, let me get everything back up here. Freaking Windows here, man. Nvidia's starting to dip down. Here's gold. Let me get this back up. I'll trade a combine for... Good? That should be good. Alright. Ridiculous, man. I'm still kind of mad about it. Well, no, I don't want it to do an update either. I ignore the updates, you know? Yeah, but I don't really want it to update, Cap. The reason I don't want it to update is because the last few times it's updated, it hasn't been good. Yeah, so the last few times I've updated it, it just hasn't been good. Like, it's messed with my system here. Right, for sure. We're traders, so we kind of have to use Windows. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the IMF is going to strengthen surveillance activities, including on China. He said the U.S. stands with Argentina. Treasury is monitoring all markets, and we have the capacity to act with flexibility and force stabilize Argentina. Luckily, it didn't matter that much. I mean, we still got 700 here or so, but definitely not happy about it. Kind of ridiculous. Let's see what happens at the opening bell, though. This opening bell should be a little bit more interesting. The opening bell's in 30 minutes or so. I gotta check to make sure we're not lagging or anything here, because weird. All right, so we're still under 750s. We're looking at this. Corn's going down. Bitcoin bottom is in. Maybe it's at 105,630s. We will see if it holds. Linux works well. I've done some pen testing and stuff like that on Linux before. I didn't hate it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I've done some stuff on it before. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still at 105.60s. I'm going to put the full up here. Gold's still coming back down, but gold might be in this little range here. Yeah, the last time I did it, I think it did it during like a PPI stream as well or something. Something big. I was really mad it did it last time. Let me talk to it. Where's my command viewer, event viewer? All right, NASDAQ trying to get back over 650s. Let's see if gold's in that range. At least the NASDAQ's choppy today. We got 25 minutes. Oil's up a little bit today, I think. But, or no, oil's technically down, but it's rebounded some. Let's see what time. All right, so we're back up to 750s, but we're not really moving. Bitcoin coming back down a little bit to the lower 105 levels. I'm looking at other breaking news. We got the WTO head said they are very worried about the rise in U.S.-China trade tensions and hopes they de-escalate. Bloomberg's reported that U.S. initial jobless claims fell last week, citing state data. Again, Bloomberg did say that jobless claims did go down last week, citing state data. Formula One says 5-year partnership with Apple to become Formula One's exclusive broadcasting partner from 26 and Apple to amplify Formula One across Apple News, Apple Maps, Apple Music, Apple Sports, and Apple Fitness Plus. New broadcast agreement to see Apple TV host all practice, qualifying, sprint sessions, and Grand Prix. Well, claims falling is good, I would say. When did the crash happen is what I'm looking for here. Yeah, so here's the crash. All right, guys, 20 minutes left. Yeah, this is a driver problem. But the driver is being forced. The driver issue is the updates they're giving us. All right, NASDAQ back up. Highs of the day are right around 24,800s even for the NASDAQ here. Again, the Dow has basically rebounded back up today. Technically green at 46s. Bitcoin's still down. Rebounded a little bit, but kind of pulled back some. Gold is still low or down on the day, but still green over the last few months. NASDAQ's still pretty sideways. State data, not federal. Yeah, we don't really give federal data. The government shut down. So AI is telling me that per my event viewer system log, that the crash is related to a driver for the Logitech G935 wireless gaming headset. It said right before the system crashed, it tried to load a driver for your headset. Why? Dude, I don't even have that headset. It's not even in here. Sony. I don't even have that headset in here. Why is it trying to load that headset randomly? That's weird. It said before your system crashed, it tried to load a driver for your headset and that driver failed. A critical driver failure like this, especially for a complex peripheral with its own software, can absolutely cause a system-wide crash. This is classic and very solvable. Bro, get the Logitech. Let me look at this, dude. Hold on. I don't know. Yes, we got the FOMC on the 29th for sure. Yeah, so we're going to get the FOMC meeting. They even brought back CPI data, so we'll get the CPI data next Friday. So the CPI data comes out next Friday. I don't know when the shutdown is going to end. It's going to be a while. We don't have data, government shutdown. I gotta ask AI, is this correct? Yeah, I mean, it impacts me just because I cover the economic data. So naturally, I want the government to stay not shut down. But again, kind of selfish reasons, I think. Yeah, I think they're going to cut rates. If they don't cut rates, we might get fear. At this point, it's pretty likely. Although, again, we do have CPI data coming out next Friday. If there's anything that might swing these odds back to no rate cuts, it's going to be CPI data. We get like elevated CPI, that's going to freak markets out for sure. I'm not saying that's what we're going to get, but if we do get it, it's going to scare markets. CPI is getting published. So CPI was originally scheduled for this past Wednesday, 2 days ago. Instead of that coming out, we are now getting it next Friday. The 24th, I believe, is next Friday. Yeah, the 24th, next Friday. That's when the CPI data is coming out. So again, they brought back some of the non-essential workers that were compiling the data just to get them to get CPI out. The reason they need CPI is because it influences Social Security increases, right? And so they need to see what inflation is to base that off of. And so they brought them back. It is going to get released next Friday. And then the Fed meeting is going to be on the 29th, 5 days later. Yeah, so it's a Logitech G935 wireless headset causing problems. Okay, see, I gotta go to device manager. Go to drivers. Yeah, it's weird. I don't even see this device. All right, guys. Hey, we got 14 minutes left. NASDAQ is all the way back down here. American Express CEO says health of their consumer is really good. Have not really seen an impact of the government shutdown. All right, so we're starting to rebound back up. We're almost up to 750s here. Let's see if 750 rejects it. Gold pulling back some. Donna just sent Bill Gates an email about tell him, dude, tell him. Honestly, I hate Windows. They force updates every 3 days. It's not feasible to run like a stream with a Windows device, really, because they're going to constantly force you to update. Unless you're going to sit at your computer all day, every day doing this, it's just ridiculous. We got 11 minutes left. I'll rant about it all day today. I need this soothing sound music right now. Calm me down because I hate Microsoft, guys. That's all I'm saying. NASDAQ technically red, but not super red. It's mostly flat. It's rebounded a lot, actually. It's not them updating every 3 days. That's the problem, Tony. The problem is that the updates render they need you to do it every 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 days, and then the updates render your PC unstable for a period of time, and you get crashes like the one I got today. And then by the time they're finally like stable, then they force you to do another update that renders it unstable, and they do it over and over and over and over again. It doesn't help anything. It just hurts things, right? Like that's the issue with Microsoft, unfortunately. All right, guys, we got 10 minutes until the opening bell. Let's see what we get. Yeah, for sure. Realistically, I might just buy another PC. I know it's not going to solve it, but... All right, guys, I'm waiting for the opening bell to trade. I'm green on the day slightly, but I'm kind of a little cautious today. Yeah, and then AI's got me on a wild goose chase trying to figure out. Desktop for sure. Yeah, that's probably what happened. All right, guys, we got 8 minutes. Seven minutes. The thing about this computer is this computer should be a great freaking computer, bro. Like, this is like a Alienware Ryzen. I mean, I know Alienware gets a bad rap, but like, yeah. Oh, no, this isn't an Alienware. This is a ROG G16. It's an i7. I don't know. I trade a little bit of everything. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left. Amazon creeping up. Honestly, here's the reality of it. The reality of it was probably from the forced update that I was ignoring for like a week. And then it finally forced my computer to restart and blamed it on other stuff. But realistically, that's probably what this is. All right, guys. Hey, 4 minutes. We're going to trade at the opening bell. We'll see what we get. Bull or bear at the opening bell, guys? Let me know. We asked people when the government shutdown ends, does gold pull back? 69% say yes. See if gold runs today. All right, we're at 736s here. 740s. Under 750s, we're watching that. Bitcoin's kind of, we got this range on Bitcoin. It is a downward looking trend here. Okay, so AI actually got it right. This is what AI says the problem was. AI says this almost certainly means that a recent window update has overwritten the correct ASUS driver you installed with a generic faulty one from its own library. It's very common, incredibly frustrating. You fix the problem by installing the right one, and Windows decides it knows better and replaces it and reintroduces instability and crashes. That's what happened. Fair? Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what my PC said. At least it hasn't crashed again yet, which is good. But I'm still not happy about any of this. Yep. Which one do you think is telling the truth about the economy, the dollar or gold? I don't know. I think gold has a lot of reasons to run right now. The government shut down. You know, there's a lot of stuff that might cause gold to run. We got 1 minute here, chat. 1 minute. We still got almost 900 people here, so I appreciate you guys, even though we crashed this morning, staying here. At the very least, I got my OBS settings to where it keeps the stream going. It just might be blank for 5 minutes while I restart my computer. All right, guys, y'all ready? 30 seconds here, 30 seconds. Problem is, Macs are going to be like, yeah. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Good luck. Let's hopefully try to make some money today. We'll see. Here's the bell. Let's see what the market gives us. We got Bitcoin on the middle bottom chart, the Dow up on the top middle chart, gold up on the bottom right chart, NASDAQ up on the left chart, and definitely top three, worst ever. Put up Nvidia here. Watch Nvidia, see what it does. Watch AMD maybe here as well. Pretty small range though at this morning at the opening bell. Nasdaq falling. 24/7's bouncing right off of my level. Look at that. Top 3 greatest level of all time right here. Maybe. Kind of. Is it? Should have bought it, but it's a little too close to the bell for me to buy. We're 1 minute in. Top 3 greatest level ever right here. Look at this 700 level. Look at this rebound back here at 24/7. Bitcoin back up to 106. Nvidia trying to make a push. Gold kind of flat. Watch AMD for a second. AMD is up to 233.50s here. Here's another question. I added upgraded RAM to my computer about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Since then, some of these problems have started. I'm wondering if that's what's going on. You know, I think it's probably just the updates, but still. Gonna be sideways most of the day. It is Friday, guys. We got a lot of unknowns in markets. Government shut down. Payrolls paused. Labor data paused. Jobless claims paused. CPI, PPI. CPI delayed, everything else is paused. Retail sales paused. So the government resumes. We got regional bank worries, but we've kind of rebounded from that. We've got crypto woes. Bitcoin down to 105s, 106s. A lot of people are nervous and apprehensive to trade. A lot of liquidations in Bitcoin, over 1 billion in liquidations today alone. So all right, so we're still in this range. I've got 2 chips or two RAM sticks. We have 4 slots, but we only have two sticks of it. It should be able to handle that fine. Yeah, it's not 4. I'm pretty sure it's just the update, though. Again, AMD still sideways. We're in a really tight range here. Nvidia looks like it wants to go up, though. What are we at? We are 3.5, 4 minutes into the day here. Looks like we're heading up. Nvidia pushing up. I'll buy a small dip if we get it. Ah, never got it. See what happens here, though. I'm gonna buy. This is a challenge account, so I can do this. There we go. Take half off up there. There we go. Take another piece. Take another piece. Let this last one ride. Look at that move. Get out right around 800. At the top of the range. I'm gonna start buying down on this dip here. There we go. See if this dip gets bought up. Kind of covering it at this bottom. See if it gets bought up though. There we go. I'm gonna cut it right there. Oh, I know when. Listen, trust me. I sounded like freaking Happy Gilmore when he got in a fight with Bob Barker when my computer shut down just now. You know, talking about Windows mostly. NASDAQ testing highs of the day, just tapped it. Didn't quite get over it though. Yeah, 24,800 level holding here. Didn't quite get over it, got very close, but not anything yet. I'm gonna buy this up with 1, maybe 2. Believe this. If it rebounds quick. Tapped highs. Maybe it's a range trading day. I'm gonna liquidate one of these. We're still very green on the day. I just don't like the risk. There we go. That's better. It's a big buy up quickly here. Let's make sure no news are coming out. Might buy a little bit more. Let's see. I can take more risk on this because it's hold on. I'll add some more here. We have a big cushion on the day, so we'll risk it. Like 10 right here. There we go. Half off up there. Nice. Take another piece of this off. I'm gonna take the rest off close to break even here, but trying to give it time to run, but it keeps getting rejected. It looks heavy. There we go. Okay, some of the shorts getting squeezed out now. Good. There we go. I'm gonna cut it at the top of the range right there. John versus Windows, man. Dude. Just annoying. Like obnoxious. You know? Yeah. I'll clean them out over the weekend and see what happens. I might install my old RAM sticks just because. You know, I put in some Vengeance DDR5 RAM sticks. And they run a little bit cleaner. They're supposed to run at 6,000 megahertz, but the previous ones ran at 5,800, so the difference is negligible, and if I can put the old ones back in and get stability, I will. I think it's probably the update anyway, but it's worth a shot. All right, so we broke highs and then rejected all the way back down. We're at 24,780s. Well, because Macs are 150% more expensive, greeny, and I'm used to using Windows. All my setups are on Windows, so if it keeps happening though, I'm gonna get an iMac pretty quickly. There's a gap between them. I didn't install them right next to each other. I installed them with a gap between them. There's only 2 when we have 4 slots, and there's a gap between them. Gold, AMD dipping down. Gold with a pullback here to 4270s for gold. Look at this dip on gold. Bitcoin's actually up since the opening, but it's having a hard time holding here. I'm short. I'll short another top up here if we get a retracement back. Look and see if we come back down to like 700s. There we go. Got 5. There we go. I took a bunch of this off, but there we go. Take some more. Look at that. gonna cut it right there. So far so good since the opening bell. We've had a bunch of green trades here, but yeah, 10-year yield back up to almost 4%. Again, we could have choppiness. I think we're getting choppiness so far today. I mean, we like, is it worth buying down here and expecting more chop back to the upside? I mean, I think it's possible. Yeah, I'm not really a hardware nerd, but like, I'm just gonna put the native chip RAM sticks back in my PC later on, since I've got a bum leg right now. Carol might have to help me. Am I gonna be able to show Carol how to do it? You know, I don't know, man. She's got smaller hands than me, that's for sure. All right, guys, NASDAQ coming back down. We're at 24.7s. Gold retraced all the way down to 42.70s. AMD's dipping down to 230s right now. Where are my old chips? I'm gonna look up some. They're somewhere in this room. Apple up on news. John might be buying an iMac. You know, Apple's slightly green on the day. It's at 24. It's basically at 248s. Again, 24.7 is a big level though. Let's see if we break underneath it. All right, we're down to 24.7s. Let's see if we hold 24.7. All right, guys, there's the break under 24.7 and the 200 exponential here. Does this start a red open? We're about 15 minutes into the day, into the opening bell here. Or do we just get a liquidity grab back up and rebound back up and go choppy? Bitcoin back down to 105.5s. You guys red or green so far today? Here's a breakdown. Oh, I was gonna buy the dip. I just missed the dip though. I was gonna buy. I need some more here. Let's see if I can get some more. Well, got a little bit of a retracement. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take some off here. I think it was the right move. Bitcoin's still falling down a little bit. Gold rebounding some. Nvidia at 180.50s. It is Friday though, guys. Y'all just be careful. Green, red, green, deep red, red. Green. Red, 20,000 on calls. Hey, be careful, man. Again, we're at the bottom of a longer term range. Look at all these lows. This is why I ended up buying the dip right here, and I sold it at the top right here. But this is a longer term bottom, which is kind of why we're rebounding so much right here. Like 1, 2, 3 confirmations. You know. We do need a green day. Honestly, I think if we get another red day today leading into the weekend, markets might be fearful next week. So I think we do honestly need a green day if bulls want to continue here based off of the craziness that happened last week, or earlier this week. Could be OpEx today. I think it's the third Friday. No, let's see. Yeah, today's the third Friday. Starting to bounce back. We're at 24/7s. Get a range here this morning. We're up a lot. I'm looking for a dip to buy if we get a big enough dip, but nope, too late. Nvidia's starting to creep back up. Nasdaq bouncing back here. A short 750s right here quickly, but it looks wrong. So I'll cut some of it if we pull back. I'm gonna cut half of it here, small. Still up about 500 on the day on this one, but yeah, we're out. Like the first losing trade I've had this morning. That's a big buyback here, though. Look at the market move back here. Let me make sure there's no news. Yeah, I don't see any news. Getting close to the highs of the day here. I'm gonna buy a dip and we're gonna take a large size here. There we go. Cut some. We're gonna add more back if we dip more. All right, yeah, like I said, we're gonna take some larger size here. It's 12 micros. There we go. Third of that off. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. See if we go for that top here. We got 2 left. We might as well let this roll. If we go red on it, we'll cut it probably, but. Also add some back at like 750s here. Go. You can tell a lot of people are range trading this today. Still looking a little heavy here, but sometimes they can get squeezed. There we go. Let's take another. I'm gonna take one and just let this last one ride. I'm gonna add back right here. There we go. Add 3 right here. Off. There we go. Take another off. Put it right at the top. Testing highs of the day again. Nvidia trying to go green as well. Apple back up too. Oil. There's a lot of people talking. At $57 red on the day. Yeah, we're testing highs of the day. 24.8s is what we're trying to get over now. Highs of the day are at 24.8, 1850 here. So we're getting pretty close to that. That's why we bought this original little pullback here. But yeah, we're 25 minutes into the day, into the opening bell, that is. Nasdaq still pushing up to almost 850s here. It needs a green day too. I think green day is good for optimism next week, unless we get some bad news over the weekend. Unless we get bad news over the weekend, you know, I think it's good to have a green day today. There's 850s. Nasdaq's still breaking highs. 860s. 862. 863. Gold's kind of stagnant right now. AMD starting to rebound back up to 232s. Nvidia rising at the same time. And Bitcoin bouncing back to 106.2s. Are we back, guys? Are we back? Oof. Nvidia breaking highs again at 182s. Nasdaq still pushing up. Let's watch 24.9s right here. 24.9s. So the Zion Bank sell-off was deemed overdone by Morgan Stanley. They said that Their third quarter loss and fraud allegations against certain borrowers scared investors, triggering a 13% drop. Morgan Stanley says the reaction is overblown, noting no signs of wider issues and limited exposure to risky non-depository loans. Okay, got it. So basically, a bank is telling us not to worry about bank weakness. Got it. Oil, again, fell below 57 a barrel for the first time since May. Now down 25%. Could we get lower gas prices? Nvidia is still up, Bitcoin up, AMD tech up. Gold is flat, but less fears right now. Yeah, big banks aren't really weak. That's just kind of a joke, you know. But again, NASDAQ is going up. We're at 24.9s. Again, I think logically and psychologically, I think this green day makes sense today. It doesn't mean it's going to hold. Maybe we turn back down. But I think markets have been in buy the dip mode for a while. Even though Bitcoin is still down pretty big. Jim Cramer's bullish right now, is he? I don't know. Yeah, look at all these green candles here. 12 out of 13. Finally getting a dip right here at this top 3 greatest level ever right here. But we'll see where we stop. Bitcoin's right around the volume weighted average price. At least Bitcoin futures are. Nvidia is now technically green on the day. The Dow is technically green on the day. So we're 30 minutes into the open. We still got somewhat of a comeback here. So Crash Coming is predicting a crash Monday, like 1987. Maybe. Maybe not, though. We'll see. Why is everybody deleting messages all of a sudden? Oh, yeah. I'll see why you deleted it. He has that look. I'm not saying, you know, Jim Cramer. How many crashes does Crash Coming usually predict? How many crashes could Crash Coming predict if Crash Coming could predict crashes? Is that what you're saying? All right, guys, we're pulling back. We're at 835s right now, 835s. Let's see if we get down to 800s again. Because your handle is showing, YouTube changed the thing where now it shows your at handle versus your name, so people don't scam people as much. All right, here's 800s. So I buy this dip. I want 800s. It might not get there. Problem. We're back down. Will I get 800s? There's 800s. There it is. I should have sold on that bounce though. A quick drop. This looks kind of scary. Took half off, or a third off. I'll take more off now too. I don't like that at all. The big red candle here, under my level. Murray always says crash. Michael Burry could see a bald eagle fly across his window, and he would say that means the market's going to crash, you know. So, again, I like Michael Burry. I think he's a very smart guy, but he overpredicts crashes. All right, let's see if we get over 24,800s here. There's a lot of puns we can do here, Lee. You know, I'm gonna not be tempted by all the puns I can do right now regarding. Crash Bandicoot. All right, guys. It's past 9. Markets are kind of wild right now. It looks like a buy the dip situation short term, but I don't know for sure. Not an investment professional. Again, I'm gonna get out of here. I will schedule the stream for tomorrow though, for Monday right now while I have time. All right, look, so it was a buy the dip scenario short term. We got bought up quick here. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, Gold on Top Step. 0 commission on Top Step X. You can now reset funded accounts. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill. You pass the test, they fund you. You fail, you only lose what you pay for it. The base one's $50, so your risk is $50. It's not the end of the world, and it's a great way to learn how to day trade with some risk, learning how to trade with risk, but not funding your own account thousands of dollars and probably losing it like most day traders end up doing. Remember, I'm not an investment professional. They're a sponsor of mine. I am biased, but genuinely useful for everybody, in my opinion, learning to trade. Great way to learn how to trade. Again, I'll put the link up if you want to help support your boy here in this channel. The link is pinned to the top of the chat, actually. Check it out. And, yeah, as soon as we close this stream, guys, it's going to bring you to Monday's stream. If you're a real supporter, you'll wait here all weekend. No music, no bathroom breaks, and just wait for the Monday stream to start. Y'all have a safe weekend. I'm gonna wobble on out of here with my hurt knee. And again, we'll see if the market holds today. Green day so far, though. I think we needed a green day. We got one so far. At the opening bell, at least. NASDAQ technically green. SPY technically green. Dow technically green so far. Bitcoin's still pretty red, but, you know, that's got a long way to go back up there. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I mean, we're 35 minutes into the opening bell. I'll be on Top Step TV later if y'all want to hang out. I'll see you guys later.